Okay, and so your next step was to go corporate. You landed at DataWind and you were corporate legal counsel. So tell us what DataWind is and what your role there entailed.
So DataWind doesn't exist anymore as a company. It was a company that at the time produced and manufactured the world's cheapest smartphones and tablets and provided internet services to kind of different third world countries and developing countries around the world. Um,
How is there not a market for cheap phones and tablets with the way phone prices are going?
yeah,
I'm just going to
yeah,
put that out there. Although I credit to Samsung, they do have some very, very affordable phones at Costco. There's are some earned media for them right there. I always bump into them seeing these unlocked phones for 200-300 bucks.
yeah,
And I'm
yeah,
always amazed that Samsung is pulling it off,
yeah.
that someone is still doing that.
Yeah, no, they have a great range of devices. So yeah, you can always find a cheap one at Samsung. But in terms of that job at DataWind, what I didn't know at the time that I was interviewing for the job was that the company was on its way out. They were essentially winding down.
Oh
Yeah,
no. When did you find that out?
on
Like
my
day 1 of
first day
first
of the
day?
job.
Oh
Yeah,
my god.
yeah, and even searching
Okay.
online, you do research and do all that kind of thing. It didn't really come up. But and in an interview, it didn't come up, I wasn't told, but as soon as I hit my first day of the job, I was coming in, to be more of a solicitor type role, legal counsel, corporate counsel. But it was very, very much a corporate litigation type role and international corporate commercial litigation because there were outstanding contracts, there were contract disputes in different parts of the world, like India and Guernsey and the United States. I didn't even know where Guernsey was, to be honest, until I started that job.
It's a small island off the coast of
Yeah,
England. There we go.
exactly, exactly. I had no idea. I'd never heard that name in my life. And then there were issues with the CRA, and there was issues with manufacturers and developers and things like that. So it became kind of putting out fires left, right, and center of all these people that were either being sued or suing the company. And it was my first kind of foray into the chaos that could be a legal department and managing a company's legal issues. So definitely a crazy time, but learned a lot in a very short amount of time in terms of litigation, corporate litigation, international litigation, but then also what it means to manage a legal team. There were only two of us, there two lawyers at the time, and we were both quite young in our careers, so it was quite interesting.
Okay, so you get there first day on the job, you find out that you have, bought a ticket on the
Yeah,
Titanic.
exactly.
So, do you have to take a day or 2 to find the motivation? Like you said, that this chaos really set you up for success. Like, it seems like you're very grateful for that experience. But did you have that gratitude at the beginning, or did you spend, like, the next day or so going, "Do I just dust off my resume and try again? Do I just kind of parse this from LinkedIn?" Because you don't really know when the bottom's gonna fall out. Like, how do you approach it and how do you stay motivated?
Yeah, for me, I think because I was still going through the process of I'm trying to establish myself in the legal community in Canada and Ontario, and having the tag that's running behind me of foreign trained lawyer, the opportunities
Mm.
weren't throwing themselves at me. So even working back towards articling, like I had to article for free, and that never happens. Like you're supposed to be paid for
Oh,
articling.
wow.
Yeah, I had to article for free when I came on as an associate. I was getting paid barely over minimum wage. And then this job presented itself, and it was like, okay, well, I need to make the most of this opportunity. It's not like I'm gonna have 10 more like waiting, at my front door. So it was more so, okay, let me do what I can do here so that I can set myself up for the next opportunity that, I know I'm gonna have to take. So it was very much like, let me just jump into this. And, I was able to luckily kind of get the ear of some mentors that I've had in the industry, and they walked me through a few things. Luckily Google was very prevalent at that time, and obviously continues to be, but there was a lot of free legal resources, a lot of free teachings online, and a lot of ways to do research on how to manage this situation or these situations. So it was, yeah, like I said, trial by fire, but very much the mentality of I have to do this. There's no other option, and I need to make the most of this.